recording, and I am so excited to share my Fangirl Friday and rock moving new friend, Katie Nall. Katie is a TEDx speaker. She's the founder of the Emotions Gym, and she is a math whiz. She has all kind of ideas that just make math so much fun and practical. But she also has some amazing, amazing skills that you guys are going to get to learn about today. So without further ado, I want to introduce my rock moving friend, Katie Nall. Katie, welcome to the Rock Movers.
Karen, I am so excited to be on your show and to show your participants how to dissolve their waffles.
I cannot wait to learn more about this. And typically I introduce my guests with a little more, but yours is so unique and special. I really would like for you to share so I don't miss anything. Can you tell everyone a little bit more about you, and then we'll just jump right in.
Thank you. So yeah, I'm in Florida. I'm a mathematician. And as a mathematician, I found that I wanted to help others dissolve their waffles. In the process, I was able to give a TEDx talk, which is on YouTube and also on my YouTube channel. I've been able to help students overcome their fear and anxiety, not only about math and test phobia, but really I have clients all over the world about helping everyone learn how to do it themselves in a non-addictive, non-invasive way to dissolve their waffles, their worries, their anxiety, fear, frustration, lethargy, exhaustion, and stress. I've had the pleasure, most of the time, to be married for 47 years. He's almost trained, so I'm going to hold on to him for a while. And I have 3 fabulous children who all are grown as adults, and they still talk to me, Karen. So I'm excited about that.
That's a win. That's a huge win.
Yeah, and I'm also probably the most honor I have is I am the captain of Team Adorables. We have 5 adorable granddaughters.
Team Adorables. I love that. I only have 2, so I haven't caught up with you yet, but
yeah, there's still time.
Grandchildren are the best. They're the best.
They are. Mm-hmm.
So let's jump right in. And before you do your example, I always love to ask my guests, because we're called the Rock Movers, what are you doing? And I have a suspicion that I know, but what are you doing to move the rocks in your world? And then also for others. And I have a suspicion that it has to do with these waffles. And I know everybody was going waffles, but then when you say that, your worries, and it's like, oh, yes, like waffles is such a better term for that. But please share, what are you doing?
So Karen, all of us carry rocks around, right? All of us carry worries, anxieties, fear, frustration, lethargy, exhaustion, and stress. And Dr. Hans Seeley, over 100 years ago, defined that stress is caused by 3 different things: uncertainty, lack of information, and loss of control. I don't know about you, Karen, but right now I'm feeling all 3 of those.
Yes, same.
And the way that I do it myself and I help others move it is through a unique technique that I learned over 10 years ago. And I've gotten certifications in level 1, level 2, level 3, trauma, and actually quantum. And that's helping people overcome those waffles using tapping. And I'd love to give you an example of it.
We talked about this a little bit beforehand, so I am so excited and so ready. I did some research, I checked out all your stuff, and it's remarkable what people are saying about what you do. So I'm honored and excited. So
well, good. Shall we try it for you and your all your varied participants?
Yes. So this is the first time we've ever had this kind of a podcast. So this is something new and different. Mm-hmm. And I'm excited to jump right in. So I'm going to be a willing participant, and I want y'all to connect with Katie after this and check her out and see how she can help you with your waffles, because I've got some really big waffles these days.
I think we all do, Karen. Yeah. So it's a pretty simple technique, and thank you for all your compliments, but really it has very little to do with me and very much to do with the process. So as people learn the process, they can do it themselves. I
Mhm.
will say that working with a certified practitioner, and there are many that you can find, can make it easier and faster.
Okay.
So I'll say that. So I'm going to ask a whole bunch of questions. It's important that everything we do are in your words. So the first thing I'm going to ask is, if I ask you to say something, Karen, and you're thinking, that's not really true, or I wouldn't say it that way, will you repeat it in a way that is true for you?
Okay. Yes.
Okay, that's the first thing. So the next thing is, do you have an issue or a concern that's causing you waffles?
Yes. So I'm dealing, do I tell you what it is or do I just say
Well, here's the cool thing. If you feel comfortable and you want to say it, you can, but you don't have to. You can just say that issue and you don't have to give me any details.
okay. Well, so I don't, for everyone else, let's just say that issue so that they can apply
Okay.
it to their issue.
Okay. Okay, great, great. So we'll say that issue. So, Karen, when you think about that issue,
Mhm.
um, can you remember the last time that issue came up? Like what day it was, or what week, or what month?
Yes, this morning.
Okay.
It's
This
the
morning?
boys. It's around my boys and getting them
Okay.
ready for school. So I'll
Okay, so it was this morning. Okay, so this morning we had that issue. So my next question is, from the top of your head to the bottom of your toes, when you think about that issue, where do you feel it in your body?
I feel the anxiety bottled up right in my chest.
Okay, so that was going to be my next question, and you answered it with anxiety. So it's anxiety in your chest, right? Okay, and then next question is, between 0 and 10, when you think about it, and 0 is like, no big deal, I can deal with it, and 10 is the highest anxiety you've had in your life. When you think about that issue that happened this morning and the anxiety in your chest, what is the intensity level?
It's definitely not a 10. Probably an 8 because it's very frustrating dealing with teenage boys.
Oh, yeah, right.
But
We had two. So you mentioned another word. So you had anxiety and you had frustration.
mhm,
Which of those is larger?
probably more the frustration.
Frustration. Okay.
Mhm.
Then the last question is this a true statement? Right here, right now, I feel safe.
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to put it all together. And for any of your listeners, I'm going to be very explicit in case somebody is just listening and is not watching, so that they can do this along with us. And if anyone wants to email me at hello@drnall.com, I'll be glad to send them the PDF of the tapping points. Okay.
Oh, perfect.
So what we're going to do is we're going to start with either hand, and it can be the right hand or the left hand, doesn't matter. And on the place in your hand between your little finger and your wrist, so
Okay.
right there,
hmm
we're going to use your other hand and tap right there.
Okay.
So we're using one hand to tap on the other hand between the little finger and the wrist. And then we're going to have a statement. We're going to have versions of it. We're going to say 3 times. You ready, Karen?
I'm ready.
Okay, so repeat after me. Even though
Even though
every time I think about that issue,
every time I think about that issue,
I have all this frustration in my chest. Oh,
I have all this frustration in my chest.
and right here, right now, I feel safe anyway.
And right here, right now, I feel safe anyway.
Even though
Even though
this frustration in my chest,
this frustration in my chest,
it comes from thinking about that issue this morning.
it comes from thinking about that issue this morning.
And right here, right now, I feel safe anyway.
And right here, right now, I feel safe anyway.
Last time, even though
Even though
this morning,
this morning,
I remember that issue
I remember that issue.
and it caused all that frustration in my chest.
And it caused all that frustration in my chest.
Right here, right now, I feel safe anyway.
Right here, right now, I feel safe anyway.
And then, Karen, on the top of your head, you can use one hand or the other or both. It doesn't matter. We're going to tap on the top of the head and repeat and say, that frustration in my chest.
That frustration in my chest.
And then I want you to tap on the edge of your eyebrow right above your nose. And again, you can use one hand or the other or both and tap right there and say, oh, that frustration in my chest.
Oh, that frustration in my chest.
And the next spot is between your the edge of your eye and your hairline. And again, one hand or the other or both, it doesn't matter. Oh, that frustration in my chest.
Oh, that frustration in my chest.
And then your next spot is under your eyes. And Karen, that's where I keep all my bags. So you'll see them there. That frustration in my chest.
That frustration in my chest. When I smile, I can feel my little smile pooch.
And then under the nose, oh, my chest is full of frustration.
Oh, my chest is full of frustration.
Under the lips and above the chin, that chest is full of frustration.
That chest is full of frustration.
And then you can cross your arms and tap on your collarbones and, oh, I'm so full of frustration.
I'm so full of frustration. Sorry, I'm hitting my microphone. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah. And then about 4 inches below your arms, and you can either do it that way, or you can cross. It doesn't matter. Oh, my chest is full of frustration.
My chest is full of frustration.
And then take a breath out, Karen. Blow it all out. And take a little breath. It's so much fun to watch clients as their shoulders just melt. It's so much fun. Yeah, right. So, Karen, when you think about that issue this morning, your frustration from 0 to 10, where is it now?
It really is less. Maybe a 4, 5.
Okay.
When I'm not thinking about it, I'm not feeling it. The moment I think about it, I can feel it tighten. Before it was just tight. Like the frustration was just there.
Okay. So you're feeling a difference in your chest as well.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. So let's try it again. Only I'm going to ask you, what is it about that issue that is the most frustrating? And you can say it's the secondary issue if you don't want to spell out what it is.
Yeah, no, it's, well, I've kind of alluded that it's my boys. They're so mean to each other.
Oh.
Yet they're so nice to other people, but they're mean to each other. You know, one will bang the other one on the back of the head as they're walking by, or flip off a hat, or, just growl at each other or be mean. They're just mean to each other. And it's just frustrating because it carries on. They get frustrated and then it carries on to their day. And I have one son that's, he's special needs. And so he'll take that energy with him and that attitude to school, and then he'll take it out on other kids at school if that's how their day starts. And so it's affecting other things, and they don't direct it at us, but they'll direct it at other kids, or my one son will direct it at other kids his age. So it's so frustrating that it's just bleeding over to other things. And I just want them to be the kind, sweet boys that I know they are, but they do not do it to each other. They're so mean to each other.
Okay, so it's frustrating that they're mean to each other and it goes over to other kids. Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's do a round of that, shall we?
Yes.
So even though when I think about that issue, it's really frustrating. When I think about how mean they are to each other and how it just goes off into other kids.
When I think about how mean they are to each other and that it goes and affects other kids.
And I feel that in my chest. Right here, right now, I feel safe anyway.
Right here, right now, I feel safe anyway.
Even though.
In
my chest, I feel all this frustration.
I do feel all this frustration.
When I think about how mean they are to each other. Right here, right now, I feel safe anyway.
Right here, right now, I feel safe anyway.
Even though. This morning.
Again.
They were mean to each other.
They were so mean to each other.
They were so mean. And I could feel that frustration in my chest.
And I could feel that frustration building up in my chest.
Right here, right now, I feel safe anyway.
Right here, right now, I feel safe anyway.
And then top of your head. This frustration in my chest.
This frustration in my chest.
On the edge of the eyebrow. Why are they so mean to each other?
Why are they so mean to each other?
On the side of the eye. Why are they so kind most of the time?
Why are they so kind to others most of the time?
Under the eye. And yet it causes me so much frustration in my chest.
And yet it causes me so much frustration in my chest.
Under the nose. All this frustration in my chest.
All this frustration in my chest.
Under the lips. I can feel it breaking up, but it's still there when I think about it.
I can feel it breaking up, but it is still there when I think about it.
And then on your collarbones. This frustration in my chest.
This frustration in my chest.
And then under your arms. This frustration in my chest.
This frustration in my chest.
And then blow all your air out.
It really feels like it's just, even thinking about it now, it's just like, boys, but I'm not frustrated. That is so crazy. So why the points? So I really want to, because it is remarkable. So
yeah.
Why the specific points? What do those have to do with it?
So the founder of Emotional Freedom Technique, his name is Gary Craig, and he was an electrical engineer from Stanford University who was studying how psychologists and psychiatrists were helping individuals overcome waffles. And he was looking, they had very detailed, very elaborate schemas that they were using to help this individual work on that worry, this individual work on that anxiety, and they were all different. And as an electrical engineer, he was looking at what they were doing, and what they were doing was based on traditional Chinese medicine, which has to do with meridians, which are energy pathways in our body. And he looked at everything and combined it looking through an electrical engineer point of view. And he said, you know what? If we tap on each one of these spots on our body, we're hitting 98% of our meridians without having to do individual ones for each one differently. So he did the research, looked at it from an electrical perspective, looked at the energy pathways as electrical pathways, which they actually are. And from there, he was able to identify these points. There are more points that can be used. Something that's really good for anxiety, if you want, is if you take your two wrists together and rub them, or in the middle. Okay. Yeah, really good for relieving anxiety. Or you can do the back too, in the back of the wrist.
Wow.
So something that's really fun, like when you want to get rid of frustration, is that you can pull on your fingers and just take that frustration and throw it out the window, and you can do it on the other way. And yeah. And so it is a combination. They have done, the clinical studies they've done worldwide, Karen, have been really fascinating. What they found is that tapping by itself can relieve some of your waffles. Tapping with saying the negative words, and that throws people, but saying the negative phrases is way more effective. They've done clinical studies comparing cognitive behavior therapy or talk therapy with tapping and with EMDR, which is eye movement desensitization. And they found that with the three of those, that EMDR and EFT are way more effective and that the issues do not return. With cognitive behavior therapy, and I did cognitive behavior therapy once a week for 4 years, and I can tell you that sometimes that returns. But with EFT and EMDR, that does not return. The difference is with EMDR, you've got to be sitting right in front of a therapist so that you don't go into a trauma relapse. With tapping, you can work with a practitioner like me, or you can do it yourself. And that's the incredible value of it. It's amazing. Yeah.
That is so amazing. Okay, so remind me, worry, anxiety, fear, frustrations, lethargy. What is the E?
Exhaustion.
Exhaustion.
Right? I don't know about you, but when I'm depressed and upset, I'm sleeping all the time. Mm-hmm.
Yes. And then S is stress.
Stress, our big one, right?
Yes. Okay.
And it turns out, Karen, that they've done studies and they found that if you look at levels of stress on your, okay, I'm going to get a little mathematical here, on your uh, axes and productivity along your horizontal axes, that if you have no stress, you'll have no productivity. You need a little bit of stress to increase your productivity. And you need some stress to become optimally productive. However, what happens is as your stress level increases, your productivity goes down. And I don't know about you, but there have been times where I've been so overwhelmed with so much to do and so much stress that I just kind of sit in a zombie like posture.
Yes. Yeah.
I can't move. I can't move. And so relieving that stress and deactivating it so you can get back to a productivity level. I have a lot of coaches and clients that I work with that want to be productive, that want to have focus. And we end up working on tapping. And guess what? Never has anything to do with focus or productivity or procrastination. It has to do with something that happened, way back then.
Yeah. Wow, that's so interesting and so amazing. And how I don't know. I'm a little overwhelmed by how productive it was. And the fact that you shared it, now the people watching can, give it a little try, but then work with you and see like what are the things specifically that they need to work on and that they can draw from to really tap with specifically for them. Because sometimes I feel like we assume we know the issue, but really need to dig deeper because it's that ripping of the Band-Aid off and finding like what's really at the core.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Good. So good. Yeah. I'm just amazed. Okay.
It's a strange feeling, isn't it?
It is a strange feeling, and it's but it's strange good, not strange bad. It's not uncomfortable. So that for those that are considering this, it's not uncomfortable. The language probably isn't something I would just sit here and say, but it didn't feel inauthentic. I did change a couple words because I knew, my situation with my boys, but the fact that I could just take it from I'm sitting here starting this call with you, feeling and thinking in my head, still frustrated about, one of them hitting the other on the back of the head this morning, and then they're growling at each other and just little comments, biting comments. And then they walk up to me and hug me, love you, Mom. I'm like, why can't you do that to each other? Boys, oh my goodness. But I came from this, level 8, just sitting here, not even thinking about it, to a level 0 or 1. And then when I think about it, I may go into a 1, maybe a level 1, but it took that pressure away. So simple, so easy.
The other thing I love about Karen is that I mentioned briefly that I've been in therapy for 4 years, once a week. And I have to tell you, I love my therapist. I mean, and he basically saved my emotional life, got me back into a balanced state. And I will always be thankful for him. At the end of our 60-minute sessions, he would, Katie, time's up. Well, for me to get through things that we were doing through cognitive behavior therapy, I was a basket case in 60 minutes. I'm crying. I have this emotional overload. I'm like, and I'm trying to get myself together to get out of the office, to go back to work, because it's usually in the middle of the day. And I'm like a mess, right? And with tapping, I can bring people back to a state of comfort, so that you can move about your day and still feel that you've resolved the issue. So yeah, it's a beautiful thing, let me tell you.
Yeah. And you don't have to stop your day it's something that seems like you can just, go sit down in a quiet space and just kind of address what's going on and then pick up and move right on.
You will see me driving around town with one hand because that person just pulled out in front of me and I can't believe they did it. And who do they think they are? And what do they think they're doing? And I just can't. So I do it all day long. I'll be in a store and somebody, is kind of rude. And I'm like, well, what do you think about that? And so I try to be less obtrusive, but everybody knows I'm the tapping mathematician. So
Yeah, but it allows you to stay so calm and happy and peaceful. So
yeah, really. And in this time of history that we are living in, it has proven to be very helpful. I've offered my services to a number of people who are feeling extremely stressed to help them, because you can't think clearly, right? When you are waffled, you can't think clearly. And we need to be thinking clearly right now more than ever and making intelligent decisions. You cannot make intelligent decisions if you feel overwhelmed. And so being able to monitor, to identify and to measure and to eliminate those waffles has been amazing.
yeah, and I love the fact that, like you said, you're eliminating them. You're not just putting them in a box and I'll deal with that at some other point. You're really just dissolving them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
good, so good. Well, share with us maybe one of your most remarkable situations without naming names, but just maybe a generality of like a situation that.
So I mentioned that I've been trained in quantum tapping.
Yes.
And quantum tapping has to do with past lives. I had a client who came to me and she's like, so I really want to work on getting my reports done. I'm not getting my reports done, she said. And the whole time she's holding her left back. And she says, and the reports are not difficult to do. I've just never enjoyed writing. I remember in 5th grade, I didn't enjoy it. And so, but I'm just not getting those reports. Well, the whole time she's holding her left back and I'm watching this. I'm thinking, interesting. And so we tap on the fact that she's unable to get these reports done, which is really important because without the reports being done, she's not getting paid. She's a chiropractor, and if she doesn't submit those reports, the insurance is not paying.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's pretty critical that she gets those reports done. And she had like 46 in her backlog. It was substantial. It was substantial. And I can't get these reports done. I don't know what the problem is. And I said, okay, well, let's tap on it. I said, where do you feel it in your body? And she said, well, it's right here on my lower back. And I said, okay, we'll tap on it. So we tap on it and we uncovered the fact that in 5th grade, she hated writing, and we went through all that and everything, but that pain in the lower back never changed. So I switched modalities and I said, how do you feel about doing a little quantum tapping? And she's like, yeah, whatever, just make it work. I love desperate clients, Karen, because they will do whatever. They're the best.
Yes.
So we did a little quantum tapping, and all of a sudden she put together that she had had a sword wound in a prior life. And so we tapped on that sword wound, and it was severe. It was a fatal sword wound, and it was triggering. And I mean, just talking about this, even though I've been trained in it, it just sounds so bizarre. But we tapped through that, and now she gets all her reports out every day. She was able to catch up on everything in less than a week. Moved right through it. And, so it's just like you said earlier, you never know what's in the deep well.
Yeah.
You just don't know. You don't know what the waffles are made of. We all have different batters for our waffles.
Whoa. That one blows me away. Like, whoa. Yeah. Okay. Huge stuff, big stuff. Wow. So in this COVID world that we are now living in, in addition to your amazing resources with the tapping, what else is really just helping you get through?
Well, I'm deeply spiritual. I do meditation every day, and I'm in training to become a Qigong instructor, which is a modality to exercise your internal organs. And again, it has a very strong spiritual component as well. I am blessed that I have people who love me and whom I love, and I hold them close to my heart. So I think that all of that, and to tell you the truth, Karen, the tapping has helped me tremendously. Because we have, I saw a cartoon the other day. It was so true. It's like, here's regular anxiety. Okay, here's a rock. Oh, here's COVID anxiety. Okay, I got that. Here's the politics anxiety. Okay, I got this. Here's all the thing going on with climate change. Okay, so there's all these rocks that we're carrying around. And, after a while, you're not really sure if you can stand up straight because there's all these things. And so doing tapping has allowed me to put the rock in the correct place, to identify what I can control and what I can't control, and then to move forward from that and to make intelligent decisions, right? I have to make intelligent decisions for myself and what I can control. I always go back to Dr. Hans Seeley and what he said about stress, uncertainty, lack of control, and lack of information. So what am I certain about? What can I control? And what information do I know is true? So I go back to those three things, and that helps me a lot.
I love that. I love that. So I'm so intrigued by this, and I love how you've shared this with us, and just been such a light in my day this morning. Thank you so much, and I can't wait for everyone for me to share this, and for everyone to get just a brief glimpse of your amazingness, and tap into this world. And I appreciate how you use the rock mover analogy there. I feel so strongly about moving rocks for people, and I feel like you're going to be an instrumental part of their transformation and moving their rocks, and definitely moving mine. I want to talk to you more about that, but I know you have another event coming up that you would like to share, so I'd love for you to share that with our
thank you, Karen. And if I can, I'd love to share a few testimonies. So a short story, a client I'd had for 2 years, she came to me with, I have a lack of focus. And I said, okay, that's fine. We'll tap on it. Here's my intake form, fill that out. She got me her intake form, and oh my gosh. I'm reading this intake form, and I went back to my friend. I said, you understand, I'm a mathematician, not a magician, and I'm not a therapist. You have like so many red flags. No. And just to check, I went to my mentor and I said, hey, I don't think I can deal with all these red flags. And my mentor said, you're right. You cannot deal with all these red flags. You are a mathematician. So I went back to my friend. Well, we went back and forth. And she finally said, her therapist she's seeing once a week had agreed to having me tap with her. So I'm like, okay, whatever. So we tapped, and in 6 months, she was off all her antidepressants. She was no longer depressed. Her therapist said there was no reason for her to return. And we have maintained our friendship since then. She approached me a few months ago and she's like, hey, Katie, I found these 40-day prosperity plan. What do you think? And I'm like, okay, whatever. Whatever. Well, my friend and I are very different, Karen. She's an avowed atheist, and I'm very spiritual. She is an entrepreneur, and I'm an employee. And she has many, many things going on. So she's not as consistent about things as I am. So we went through the 40-day program, and I diligently journaled every day. There's 40 days of journaling, so I went through every day. She went through through day 5, and then things got busy. And the way this works is you go back to day 1. Truthfully, Karen, I don't think she ever got past day 15. but the results were amazing. And anyway, within her business, she ended up doubling her sustainable monthly income. Within me, I mean, how could something happen as an employee? But I went back and looked, and in those 40 days, unsolicited, I received $10,000. Now, for a lot of people, $10,000 is no big deal. But for me, it was huge. It was a 10,000 unsolicited dollars. And I was like, whoa. And there were so many other things that were happening. My husband, who doesn't buy into any of this stuff, he ended up receiving money. And I mean, it was crazy. So we put together a mastermind. The first one is ending actually tomorrow. We've got a second one in process, and our third one starts November 4th. And that one's going to start. It consists of, you receive a journal prompt. You receive a tapping prompt, so you can tap on something every day. And twice a week, we will have Zoom meetings where we can share wins, share challenges, and we tap. So that starts on November 4th. And thank you so much for allowing me to share that information. It has been, the testimonies from the group has been mind-blowing.
I love it. I love it. Well, I am planning to join. I want to just encourage everyone to consider it, look into it at least. We'll have the link. I'm going to actually share this on this Friday. That'll give everyone
That'd be perfect. Thank you.
a little more time. So when everybody's seen this, it's going to be Friday. Let me check the calendar. What is that? October 23rd. 23rd. Gosh, it's already Tuesday.
I know. It's like zipping.
So yes, so this is going to be going on October 23rd. So in just 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 days from today, this new class will start. So November 4th, we'll have a link on here for 40 Days of Prosperity. You can look up Katie Nall, that's Nall, on Facebook. You see her name in the window on the video, and just get connected if you're curious, if you are struggling. I think sometimes we just get to a point, it's like, I'll just, like your client, you just get desperate. It's like, I'll just try anything. And sometimes we get lucky and we try the right thing that works. So I'm excited to learn about that. I love journaling. I love looking back at my journal entries and seeing, wow, I remember being in that place, and look where these affirmations and these things that I've done have brought me. But I'm really excited to learn about the tapping and adding that into it, because that was remarkable today. So thank you so much, Katie, for your time.
Thank you, Karen, for what you're doing and turning everyone's rocks into manageable pebbles. I just love it.
I love that. Okay, you got me a new tagline, turning rocks into manageable pebbles. That's so wonderful. Well, thank you so much. And I just am absolutely a fan. Thank you for sharing your beautiful, beautiful story with my listeners. And I just wish you all the best. I can't wait to learn more from you and about you.
Thank you, Karen. I feel the same about you.